This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Danilo's free, and it goes to Gibbs wide.
First time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! Well, that's what I wanted to see Robinson do. Tyler he scores! And the City ground goes ballistic! Here's Bob Williams. He's through here! And in the end, Forrest will say it doesn't matter how you play as long as you win it. Yeah!
Hello, welcome back to the Red Side of the Trent on the same day as Forest beat high-flying Aston Villa 2-0 thanks to goals from Ola Aina and Oro Mangala. Christian Brown has been gallivanting this weekend in Krakow, so it's just me, Reiss Lane and Lee Clark joining me as usual. Just before I wanted to get into the game, guys, and everything, I just wanted to mention Caden Story, the young lad who obviously done the last post. And I thought like, how proud we all are of him and stuff for coming out just to do it initially. And we know it didn't go well, but fair play to both Villa and Forest players to go and like consolidate him, and fair play for Cooper and the club to invite him down to the training ground. And I hope he gives it another go at some point. It doesn't dent his confidence too much. I mean, 13 years old, imagine coming out to do that. I mean, we wouldn't have had any of the bollocks to do that. So fair play to you, young man. Great by the crowd as well, Villa and Forest. So fair play to him. You'll crack on next time, mate. Don't worry about it. But Reiss, let's get into the game lineup. Everyone's been debating whether Taiwo would start. He did. And a change of formation, obviously back to 4-3-3 at home. Harry Toffolo getting his place back at left back in place of Willy Bolly, and Sergio Aurier dropping out for Taiwo. It makes us so much better immediately, doesn't it?
Yeah, because, Tyra's that focal point, and I'm seeing as we haven't had a slept on it for this episode, I'm going to go as far as saying he's probably his most important player, to be honest, because when he's not in the team, we're nowhere near as good as a unit, in my opinion. People might disagree with that, but that's my opinion, and it showed because he's literally a handful for anybody, isn't he? So yeah, but in regards to the team, is it Vlachodimos? Is that how I'm going to
pronounce?
I
forgot about mentioning Vlachodimos.
Yeah,
coming in as well,
he come in and I won't steal when Mike, because you might ask Lee on player performance and that, but he come in and rightly so. I think we all agreed on that. And I think looking at the team before the game, I think everyone seemed pretty optimistic, didn't we? Because like we said, we had Taiwo back and we've got that solid three again for me in the midfield. And yeah, I was. It's easy to say because we've won the game, but I was optimistic before the game, and as I said on the pod last week, I was really looking forward to the game. I thought it'd be a bit of a ding dong, and it was really.
What did you make of? I mean, Lee, you can jump in on this because I've seen you wrote it on Twitter about two left-footed centre halves. I mean, I squashed this the other week when I thought Niakate and Murillo should play together if Willy Bolly was going to get dropped out of it, though I don't think he's deserved it. But I don't think that there's a problem with that, is there?
No, there isn't a problem at all. I think if you remotely understand football, you know that there's no problem with it. I think we've said it before on this podcast with other players. When you're buying players as a Premier League football club, they're typically going to be capable of adapting to different situations. And the fact that they might favour their left foot doesn't necessarily mean that they're only going to get minutes if it means playing on the left of a two. It just doesn't work like that. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of... I'm sure there must be clubs all over. I mean, left-footed centre halves are quite rare, aren't they? But we seem to have three of them. But yeah, I mean, there's no problem with it at all. Why would think how stupid it sounds? How many clubs play with two right-footed centre halves? Probably loads, probably hundreds. So yeah, there's no problem at all. And thankfully, that little myth that some people wanted to create has kind of been dispelled today, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm going to stick with you, Lee, because you must have had a great goal for the start of it. What a hit by Ola Aina. I was not expecting that at all. And good play down the left-hand side. Talk us through it from your point of view.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them goals where when you've scored it, you kind of you sit back and you say, how easy was that? It's just a decent ball. Alanga puts the burners on. I mean, how many people have made Matty Cash look that slow before? again, don't watch him every week in the Prem, so some Villa fans might tell me that happens quite often. But Matty Cash isn't a slouch, is he? Let's face it. So, yeah, he broke away. Nice little pass to Toffolo, who, I mean, his ball was into an area, I suppose. And we've just got fortunate that it's come on to Aina, and it's such a good finish. I think I've read that Clinton Morrison said it's one of the hardest finishes to kind of do from that distance out to almost side foot it into the bottom corner. Yeah, I think it's nice to see someone else chipping in with a goal as well, to be fair. I think when we are a little bit short of attacking options at the moment, if other players in the team can. I think one of the pleasing aspects of today is that two players who aren't really renowned for getting on the score sheet have come up trumps and scored. So yeah, lovely finish, and it was just good to see a fullback that's willing to get into an attacking area. I think that's such a modern day thing, and if we can get our fullbacks doing that more often, then long may that continue.
Well, that seemed to be our trademark in the championship, didn't it? Like just get to the byline, ball across the box. So we did it a few times throughout this season. I mean, Dominguez got his feet wrong last week, but Reiss, we're going to talk about Jared Gillett and his team for the rest of that first half. And then Lee, obviously, you're going to chip in here at some point, I'm sure. But so many offsides and like abrupt decision making from Gillett, where I don't mind if you haven't got the technology, but there were so many times where it was really tight. So I was really surprised by that. And then the one decision I do want to touch on is decision to give an immediate free kick on Boubacar Kamara when Dominguez nicks the ball from him and Taiwo's through, basically. I mean, I was completely baffled by that, to be honest.
Yeah, that is probably one where you might have said, would he have allowed the play to continue and then gone to VAR to see if it was a foul? Because yeah, I haven't seen that back. It wasn't. I've just quickly watched some highlights, and that wasn't on it. And I think you'll probably struggle to find that unless you watch the full game back. So I would like to see that again. It was just a consistency for me, mate. I put this on my personal Twitter. It seemed as if every time offside for Forest, the flag was straight up, and there was one that was wrongly up for as well. So the linesman's just guessing, isn't he, really? And then every time they, a lot of the time, stuck it to the back post with Digner on the left, who looked offside at my end a few times in the second half, and the flag stayed down. Just the consistency, and that's what frustrates football fans. You know, I am. You know, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a fan of officials at times, and it is a hard job. But sometimes just don't help themselves to me, and you can see why fans get frustrated. I'll let Lee, being a ref, have his say on it now.
I mean, it's difficult. I mean, like I say, I get tired of saying that because I'm a ref, I don't know it all. But one thing that I didn't understand today was both assistant referees seemed to be inconsistent from one another. You had Darren Can, who's officiated on a World Cup final, by the way. You had him sticking the flag up when Taiwo was marginally offside and later proved to be onside when he's through on goal. Now, to me, that's one of those perfect situations where very tight, I'll let it run. But he didn't, so it kills the game, and we don't get the chance to score. And had we scored in that situation, and it comes back and it gets checked, it would have been onside. There's clear footage that shows that one's onside. So that was a mistake, which, like Reiss has just said, mistakes do happen. Players make mistakes, so do officials. All that fancy stuff. But then on the other end, the lino near us, who my mate Rob, friend of the show, nicknamed Matt Hancock due to his receding hairline.
What a horrible nickname.
I know. There was one where the ball's gone to Gibbs White, kind of approaching the corner flag. No one else is going to possibly get to that ball except for Gibbs White. The lino makes Gibbs White run probably 15 yards to touch the ball and then put the flag up. Why? It's picky. He'll probably get a tick in a box for doing that, but it's completely picky. If I did that at my level, they'd just say, "You busy sod." Probably to a bit strong words to a stronger effect. But I mean, come on, the game's got to go back to the supporters a little bit. For a game-going supporter, the game as we know it in the Premier League has gone. I mean, I've spoken before about a Sheffield United fan who he was telling me about, it's completely different in the Premier League. It's absolutely rubbish because you can't celebrate goals. And he's spot on. Every time anything happens today, Gillett's got his finger on his ear. Oh, we're checking something. It just ruins it as a spectacle a little bit. And I think it was just so like I say, like Reiss has just said, it's the inconsistency between the two today. Sometimes you get a set of officials that one week won't have given something that's been given a previous week, but today you actually had two assistant referees who were inconsistent to one another, and it made it look absolutely farcical at times, I thought.
There was one in the second half. Sorry, Reece, where Danilo got the ball down the right hand side, looked to stop, and then realised the whistle hadn't gone, so carried on, and then the flag went. I was just like, for goodness sake! But sorry, Reece, carry on.
I just see it as like these refs. They've got to have some intelligence about them. Like that linesman in the first half will clearly see what our plan was. Villa was playing with the high line. Taiwo was literally trying to break that line time and time again. It's tight. So why is like flag happy and when it's so tight, putting it up for every single offside? I just didn't get, and that's where I'm saying like they're just not helping themselves at the minute. And it's just this is the whole spectrum, VAR, the referee. It's just an absolute disaster at the minute. And like Lee said, the games, when they brought VAR in, it was for like clear and obvious errors. At the minute, it's like being micromanaged, and it's completely spoiling the game. It really is.
Just finally on the officials, what I would say about Jared Gill is I've said this before about him. I don't necessarily think he's a particularly bad referee. I don't think he gives much at all. There was a couple early on where I thought, right, that's fine, but as long as you're not going to give them, although you're not going to give them all game, or you are going to give them all game, and he was pretty with the ones he did give. He was pretty consistent, to be fair. But it tends to be with him that he tends to give the soft ones, and then when it's like when Gibbs White was cleaned out near the dugouts, that's the most obvious yellow card I've ever seen. He just gave him a ticking off. Don't know. I think at some levels of football, he'd get a bit of respect for that, but at the top flight, that's a mandatory caution for me. And it's just little things. Like I say, he's one of them refs that when you get him, you think it's going to be a physical game today because he doesn't give a lot full stop, to be honest.
To be fair, I didn't think Gillett had that bad of a game. It was just the linesman.
It was the assistant. Yeah, it was the assistant today.
And it kind of makes him look bad. Like, if he's going to let the game flow, as a fan, as a spectator, that's kind of what you want. You don't want it where it's like rugby, where it's stop-start, because it just spoils the game. It stops and starts enough with, VAR checks and that. So the more the ball's in play and the more the game flows, I don't mind that.
Well, let's finish off the game analysis. And Reiss Mangala, not only did he score a cracking effort, which I thought Martinez nearly saved, but how poetic was it that it was on the 47th minute for Adam Johnson, who was obviously given tribute to unfortunately losing his life, Nottingham Panthers player. But that Mangala's middle name is Johnson as well. Like it's like conspiracy theory, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what a great way to start the second half, eh?
It's been quite a wholesome day, hasn't it, in football already today? Obviously, that was awful news. I'm not going to make out I'm a massive ice hockey fan, but I've probably been a dozen times to watch the Panthers and that, and so for that to happen, it was really, really awful and sad. But poignant that happened. Similar with Luis Diaz scoring for Liverpool. In terms of with his father and that being kidnapped, which is also really sad as well. So in terms of the goal, I mean, it was a great strike. And when Martinez saved it, I was literally saying to the people who I sit with, I was like, what a save that is. And then I literally turned away because I thought he pushed it over the bar. To then kind of turn back. And I think the assistant might have put his flag up again, ironically, and waved it. And obviously, you could see the ref looking at his watch, and then the signal pointing to the centre spot.
Have any of you heard Hodges' commentary?
Yes, he was
incredible.
he was literally like he'd put his winnings of his Maradona shirt, I think, on Forest today. He literally was, first class, which is brilliant. You love that, don't you? Because passionate commentator. I love that from Radio Nottingham. They've got a really good team. Hodge Laws and Colin Frey and that, and David Jackson. But like I said, I thought Martinez had made a world class save because he is a really, really good goalkeeper and a World Cup winner, obviously. And I thought he just pushed it over, and then a few seconds later, we're wheeling away celebrating. I was like asking people what just happened. So I'd not seen it back until the highlights, what had actually happened. And how many times have we said we need to come out the second half and start quickly? And usually we're on the other end of that. So for us to score so early on in the half and give us that 2-goal cushion. I think that kind of took the wind out of Villa's sails a little bit. They kind of huffed and puffed, didn't they? I'd say, really, because the goalie for us, he didn't have much to do. I'd say there isn't anything where I'd say, wow, what a save that is. He had a couple of saves, but they were pretty much meat and drink, I'd say, for him. So, yeah, perfect time to score all around. And like you said, Adam, with the Panthers player passing away on that minute as well, that was, lovely touch.
Yeah, I mean, that throws Emery's team talk right out the window. Lee, obviously 2-0 is not a fun scoreline for Forest this season. A 2-0 at Man United, 2-0 against Luton, 2-0 against Villa. Then they seem to be right knocking on the door. And what do you think? Why do you think they couldn't break us down? Like, what do you think was that? I know obviously we could talk about the crowd a bit later on, but what do you think in terms of the setup made it hard for them to break us down?
Well, I think what Villa are very good at is getting in behind. They've got lots of pace, haven't they? I mean, I said during the game, I don't think we'll see a team all season that's got a squad possessing so many players who are absolutely rapid. I think Diaby's come out and said kind of afterwards, their game. He didn't say that it's heavily reliant on it, but their game is when they're effective, it's because they're getting in behind. They're getting Watkins in behind. They're getting Diaby in behind. And we didn't let them do that today, partly because of how brilliant Moussa Niakate was. I'm sure he's going to be on the player reviews, so I'm not going to steal Reiss's thunder potentially. But yeah, that was one of the reasons we just stood firm. I don't think, like Reiss has just said with the keeper, he didn't really have too many saves to make as such that you kind of think, oh wow, that's a great save. Yeah, I guess it was probably a mixture, not to take anything away from our performance. I thought it was really good and really enjoyable. But I guess they probably did have a couple of their forwards who were a little bit off colour today, I guess. So yeah, it was one of them where perhaps some other teams will be looking at Villa now and wondering if they're a little bit one-dimensional, to the point of if you stop them getting, those quick players getting in behind, you can kind of stop them and keep them at arm's length. So, yeah, just a mixture of their players being perhaps a little bit off it and our defenders being bang at it, to be fair.
I don't know what you think, Reiss, but I thought we really suffocated the space, and then like the pressing from the likes of Dominguez and Elanga and Gibbs White was excellent, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mentioned this on the pod last week about Villa. I know Villa are flying at the minute, but their away form hasn't been really good. They've only beat Burnley away so far, and let's be honest, I think aside from us and Luton, I think everybody's beat Burnley, haven't they? So
and Chelsea they beat as well, didn't they? And everyone's going to beat them this season.
yeah, they have beat Chelsea. Yeah, that's my mistake. But yeah, Chelsea, aren't they at the minute? I really, this is something, especially in the first half, that press from the midfield, Dominguez, Sangare especially, was like pinning them into corners. And that's where we forced a mistake where a one-knee went through and the referee decided it was a foul. But it was just a performance based on hard work, desire, all the buzzwords you want to use, what you've got to dig in to win games today. I thought the whole team showed that, and you can literally say every player who played today started the game was a 7 out of 10 or above, without a doubt, because it was just a proper team performance, and that's all you can ask for. And we've showed, especially the first goal, a real piece of quality. Bit fortunate with the second, but we're due a bit of luck, aren't we? So we'll take that. And it was just, I'm so pleased tonight because we needed it, didn't we? I said that to you at the end, Adam, when I saw it at the end. We just proper needed it, and hopefully now. And look where we are in the league. I think we're up to 12th in the league. Just to feel good after that today, it just makes your week so much better, and I'm so pleased.
Yeah, Lee, you must be thinking we might get Europe now because you flip-flap so much from one end of the scale to the other. It's unbelievable. But we need to talk about the crowd. I think, Reiss, you put the post up on our Twitter page, didn't you, about getting your scarves out and getting the voices going. But I don't know if it's that siege mentality, Lee, about us being the underdog almost, that plays into our favour and kind of like then gets the crowd up. But I did think it helped that Harry Toffolo put a bit of a crunching tackle on Matty Cash in the first half as well. I think that gets everyone going, doesn't it? It's an old-fashioned thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't think we're going to get Europe, by the way. It was reverse psychology. I always say it's reverse psychology.
Oh yeah,
So I'm not
definitely.
disappointed when we do go and get a win. Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know what the actual question was. To be fair, I've lost my train of
I
thought
was
there.
just saying about the supporters getting behind us and it being a siege mentality, really, because Villa are probably the one of they're the first so-called big club to come to the City Ground, aren't they?
Yeah, I think we was on about this in the group I go to the games with before the game. And it's, I mean, you've said this before, Reiss. I mean, how many away games did we go to last year where we all came back and said, "Oh God, the atmosphere is rubbish." It's all context, and I think it's a lovely romantic idea that no matter who you're playing, you're gonna have an atmosphere like today. But football doesn't work like that because, and the reason I say that, and I don't want this to sound snobbish or anything, but for games like Luton, for games like Burnley, for games like Sheffield United, who we've played so far, Brentford even, people will get tickets that don't get chance to get them very often. So I don't want to call them tourists because that's not fair. Everyone's a Forest fan and everyone has a divine right to go to a game if they can get a ticket. But with that, it does come if you've not been to a game for 5, 10 years, even 2 or 3 years, the atmosphere has changed considerably. So that has an impact. And not only that, but the atmospheres were probably pretty poor last year when we went to places because why would a team like Tottenham or a team like Arsenal get up for a game like Forest? Oh, great, we're going to win 5-0, we're sick of scoring, as it was last year. It's the same with us. When we play Luton, when we play Burnley, it's not going to be as loud. And that's just the nature of the beast. But yeah, I mean, you saw it today. As soon as we scored, Villa fans were really quiet. They're losing to Forest, who've not won for 6 games. And again, it's a romantic idea. Oh, you should back your team. You should, but people don't. So yeah, it was good to hear that we were a bit louder. And I thought in the closing stages, I think there was a few nerves when we could see Cooper kind of. He didn't. I don't think he really wanted to roll the dice for the subs today, but there was just so much fatigue knocking about. I think in certain players' legs that he had to look at his bench. So it was good to see that the fans kind of didn't moan and groan and think, oh, here we go again. He's making subs. And they got behind the team. I actually think the best thing that Cooper deserves praise for today is getting them back up to play like that after such a drab performance at Liverpool, um, because the training ground must have been a pretty bleak place because it was such a poor performance and it's 6 games without a win. So for him to work and get them committed to a game plan that was as effective as that today, I thought he deserves a lot of credit for.
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought he got his substitutions right. I mean, Christian will hate me for this, but Nico Williams was brilliant against
He did,
Leon
was.
Bailey in the second when he come on, wasn't he?
All the subs looked ready for it today. The problem with the Luton game was they didn't.
Yeah.
Williams did really well when he come on. I agree with you.
Yeah, it was great to see Danilo back, of course. So let's get into some slept on it thoughts, guys.
Red side of the Trent. Slept on it thoughts.
So, Sir Jake the Brit slept on it thoughts. Is Cooper still getting the sacked? Do Forest know how to not be offside? Derby are doing well. Dan Maltby, Toffolo for me for the man of the match. Thought he was absolutely superb. Max, to hold on that length of time and be that defensively solid was fantastic to see. Right subs made at the right time. Man of the match, Niakate, and a shout out to Nico, who was fantastic for the last 10 minutes when he came on. Alex Oates, much better today. Early goal really set the tone for both the team and the crowd. Atmosphere was the best it's been this year. Wunye needs to keep fit because we're a different animal when he's in there. Midfield exceptional, but a shout out to Harry Toffolo, so solid. Johnny Ancliffe, everyone in a red shirt put a shift in. Ain't a man of the match, but Niakate was immense. Same as Murillo, midfield three, very good. Carl Booth, fantastic performance from all the team today. All the back line were immense. Great to have Taiwo and Danilo back. Mangala, Dominguez, unbelievable in the middle. Feel for the lad on the pipe, but doing the last post before the team consoled him. Yeah, we've all mentioned that. That's great. Broken Britain. The defence was outstanding. Niakate, Aina, Toffolo, Murillo, massive 3 points. Morgan Gibbs White's found his position. Keep him there. One is just as dangerous at a very welcome return. Delight, a great win. Not sure I agree with the Morgan Gibbs White positional play there. My mate Reiss Coy, solid all over the pitch today. A proper team performance, keeping a free scoring Villa at bay. Midfield three, fantastic. The key now is consistency, get a rhythm going, and the top of the bottom 10 is easily achievable. last few. Premier Elliott, best team performance of the season. Just goes to show if you work hard against any team, then we are capable of beating anyone. Also, well done to the young man performing the last post in front of 29,000, which isn't easy and was great for the players to show him love. Osh Jones shows how one win can change the entire outlook of a season. Doom and gloom a couple of weeks ago, 12th and above Chelsea today. Coops will make mistakes, but he's learned from them today. Bold, aggressive starting 11, took the game to him to a T. They all perform fantastically well. And last but no means least is our very own Christian, as he couldn't make it today. Most Forest thing ever to take 4 points from Luton and Villa the wrong way round. Outstanding work effort today. Spine and the team were immense. Cooper made the right calls, and it showed. Huge win. Thank you very much for getting us all in as usual. Sorry we can't read them all out. We get flooded with them, so it's brilliant. So thank you for that interaction. So we're going to get into some player performances. And Lee, you was absolutely wrong. I wasn't going to give Reiss Moussa Niakhaté. I'm giving it to you, pal.
Excellent. I was hoping you were going to do actually. What a performance. I mean, I used to say about Tobias Figueiredo that if you threw him he went through a phase where if you threw a brick at him, he had the bloody thing.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
He was amazing at that, and I thought Niakhaté. I have to say that I don't think Willy Bolly's done a great deal wrong to lose his place, but I guess with Niakhaté, he's probably just a in terms of what he brings defensively, he's probably got a similar skill set to Bolly, and he's just a bit younger, isn't he? So, such a good performance, commanding leadership. You could see him barking orders. Everything you'd want from a centre half, to be fair. A centre half who is competent giving instruction to his teammates whilst still doing his own job effectively is a very admirable trait. And I think, I hope he can stay fit, because that is, as we know, the biggest worry with Niakhaté. So fingers crossed he can stay fit. On that performance, he's head and shoulders above probably anything else we've got at centre back, I think.
I personally thought that was his best game in a Forest shirt since he's joined. So fair play to Moussa Niakhaté. Reiss, I'm going to give you the most ratty man in our midfield, and it's Nico Dominguez, and I love him.
Oh, not Sangare. Thank God for that. He was actually good today, I must add.
He was excellent.
Collectively and individually, I thought that midfield three was excellent today. I mean, I put a post yesterday on my Twitter, what exploded a little bit with people, good debates and that. And thankfully for me, after putting me 2 pence on the line, it paid off today because, as I said, I thought they were all excellent. And Dominguez, I can't swear, can I? But it's just a little Argentinian B is what I was saying, Tim. They're just nasty, aren't they, in South America? They've got that little nasty street like Simeone kind of had, didn't he, back in the day? And he was everywhere. I think I read the stats that he'd completed, I think it was 8 tackles today, which is ridiculously high numbers. He's a really good player. He had an off week last week, as a few of us did. Back on it today and was excellent. And I want that midfield three person to stay together because I think they're improving as a unit personally. The only disappointment was for Dominguez. He shanked that chance, didn't he? When he had quite a lot of time to fit, could have took a touch. I get why he hit it first time because in the fast flow of the move. But he's been a really good signing so far. And long may it continue. I'm not gonna go, and I know some people have, some fans have gone with who went the other way and in Freuler, and I personally didn't mind Freuler, but I can see why people are saying it's an upgrade because it definitely is. A good bit. That seems a really good bit of business, that does.
If I could just jump in on Dominguez as well, I think the biggest compliment I can give him is you talk about players being up for a big game. I think if Dominguez finished with 8 tackles from today, I reckon he made 4 of them in the first 20 minutes. He started absolutely unbelievable.
That I'm mentioning that press where there was really pressing Villa, and that there was like he was a bit like a hot potato for Villa, and that was excellent. That was really nice to see. That was.
He had a nice chance in the second half where typical Taiwo Wundy style, where he bundles his way and then it forced him, and it's just unfortunate he doesn't quite get it in the corner, doesn't get quite wrap his foot around it. But
didn't get the power behind it.
The thing with Dominguez is like, I don't know, his heat map must be ridiculous because he's just absolutely everywhere. I've never seen. I mean, he must have been cream crackered when they took him off, because he ran his socks off, and he's been brilliant, and I love him. It's just a shame his name's a bit like too many syllables for a song at the moment. I'm sure someone will think of one for him eventually. But I was going to mention Ole Einar, because I thought, obviously, got man of the match in the stadium. I wasn't quite sure about that, but I thought he was brilliant as well. Like Luca Dean and Zaniolo in the first half, and then I think Diaby and John
Bailey.
McGinn kind of like Bailey, or they all kind of like kept changing, didn't they? And he dealt with every single one of them. And then he went to left. Then he went to left back for a bit, and then did really well. And then
Zaniolo got hooked, didn't he, at half time? I think I read on Twitter he had the ball taken off him 4 times in the first half. I think that was the highest of any player in a half this season, something like that.
And for Ole Einar to come in on a free transfer from Torino, I mean, that is some strike for a right back. I mean, we've had some right backs in the last few seasons who have done similar sort of magical things, but yeah, for a freebie, he seems like got a good head on his shoulders, good attitude, and I liked his interview afterwards where he's just basically a big team player. So my hats off to Ole Einar. But I mean, this has not been the longest pod, guys, because there's only the 3 of us. So we'll get into West Ham immediately. They've been on a bit of a struggle, although they won emphatically in the week against Arsenal. But Lee, what's your thoughts about the West Ham game at the London Stadium?
Well, I think I don't like the term free hit in the Premier League, and given how close we are to them in the league, it's obviously a massive chance for us now to keep climbing the league. So what I would say is, if we'd got 4 points, well, we have got 4 points from Villa and Luton. If we'd have got them in the other order, we'd be saying, oh yeah, we can go to West Ham now and do our stuff and have a go. So now we've got those points. I think everything that's happened before this point is kind of forgotten. We've had a good win against a good side, and there's no reason why we can't really go there and cause them problems. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, because obviously will Cooper want us to be quite so maybe expansive, if you like, on the road? I'm not sure. Will he want to revert back to the 3? I don't know. So yeah, but like you say, that their form is pretty sporadic at the minute, isn't it? I mean,
They've not won in 5 games in the league.
I'm just going to say they've got 14 points, haven't they? Weren't they top for a little bit at the end of August or something? So they're clearly not in great form, aren't they? So yeah, I think probably there might be a little bit of trouble in the camp as well with the Antonio and Ben Rama thing I saw yesterday. So who knows? I don't know. It'll certainly crank the pressure up on Moyes and the team if we can go there and score as early as we did today. But again, you've called me for flip flopping, so that would be I'm already on about going to West Ham and scoring early like we did today. So yeah, it's certainly an interesting game now, and football is such a weird sport in the sense of, I got up for the game today and thought, looking forward to going to the game, seeing the lads and all that, this, that, and the other. But I'm not overly expecting we'll get a result. Now we've got one. It's like, please be next Sunday. I want to see how we're going to get on. So, yeah, bring it on.
It's so funny how a result just changes your mood. I mean, it makes the week so much sweeter, doesn't it, Reiss? Obviously, when you talk to everyone, you're like, "Oh, Forest won," and you couldn't care about anything else in the world. So, going to West Ham, what are your thoughts? Where do you think like key battles kind of lie, and that sort of thing? Because their midfield has obviously had a revamp with Ward-Prowse and Edison. Is it Alvarez, isn't it? Alvarez, isn't it? Has come in, and then obviously Souček. They're all big. Them two especially are big gits.
Yeah, and they've got Kudus as like an attacking minded player, haven't they, as well?
He scored a cracker in the week, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a good
Was it
player.
Yesterday? He scored like an overhead kick the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a really good player. He is.
I'm not looking forward to Ward-Prowse set pieces. Oh,
well, I mean, I'm just looking at West Ham's form, and they've not won in the last 4 and they've lost the last 3 in the league. So
yeah.
I'm just
last 5 you include Newcastle in that as well. They drew. So
yeah, they're playing midweek against our sister club in the Europa League.
Well, they lost the reverse fixture last week. So,
yeah, it's a shame they won in Greece, because that would have gave them a bit of travelling rather than being at home, which is a shame. But I'm just looking after they played Europa League games this season. So the first game they played, they went and lost to Liverpool straight after. The second game they played, then drew with Newcastle, and after Olympiacos, they lost to Everton at home, which is probably a bit close to home for us. So, yeah, it's going to be hopefully not like last year where we completely went under when I think John Joe Shelby got brought off, didn't he? And was it like 70th minute 0-0? It finished 4-0.
Yeah.
And that was a horrible away day, and it makes me glad I'm not going back there on Sunday. What's happened with Ben Rama and Antonio? I've not seen that.
I don't actually know. I don't know what that
Yeah,
news
so
is. If there's
so
anything.
the cross comes over. I'm not sure who crosses it. It's kind of beat everyone, and it's literally going to go on to Ben Rama just to slot it in with his left foot. Antonio slides ahead of him with his right foot and puts it past the post.
I thought
He basically takes it off of Ben Rama's foot.
I saw that. I thought he was on about they'd had a scrap.
Yeah,
I thought they'd had a bit of
yeah, they had a bit. You know what players are like in that situation. They just had a bit of a not a set to, but a bit of a.
Yeah, there was one today for us, for example, where Gibbs White didn't hold his line and then blamed Sangare. Sangare, I think, took it past McGinn, sidestepped him really well, clipped it as fast as he could, and Gibbs White blamed him for that when he didn't hold his line, which I find quite amusing at the time. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be another game where we're underdogs into West Ham will be the favourites. I'm pretty sure that with the book is. The problem with the underdogs is we haven't got the home crowd behind us this time because it definitely ramped up today, didn't it, with that underdogs tag for sure, Adam, like you said. But go on, what was your question again? What was you saying?
Just saying, like, where do you think the key battles lie with West Ham, and like where do you have to kind of stop like Bowen, Benrahma, Paqueta, and Antonio really, but mainly Bowen, Paqueta, and Benrahma for me really. Antonio's kind of one of them where I think Bolly and Bolly, Niakate or Murillo will give him a good run for his money in terms of his physicality.
Yeah, he's on form into Jared Bowen. I think is it 6 in a row he's scored in away from home games. I think they were saying on Soccer Saturday yesterday. So he's definitely one to watch because he'll want to play his way into the. I know he got in the last squad for England, but he'll want to be on that plane to Germany come the summer. So he'll be looking to keep that up. He's a very good player. Like I said, I really like Kudus as well. But from our perspective, you know, Alanga against Kufal, I think will be a good battle because I'm not the biggest fan of Kufal. He's not the quickest, so that's somewhere we could probably get at.
He's actually got the second most assists this season, you know, Kufal.
Oh, has he? I mean, from like a defensive aspect, I don't think he's the quickest, is he? Because, you know, like we saw today, we had them little 1-2s against Matty Cash and they were causing them all sorts of problems. And we scored the first goal from down that side after 7 minutes, I think it was. So that could be an interesting battle. Something what we didn't have last season when we went to the Taxpayer Stadium, as it's called, is Tyro wasn't fit. Once we kind of played with Chris Wood and was a bit all over the place. So hopefully Tyro's fine. I think today he just got brought off because he was probably shattered, bless him, as was a few players, to be fair. I agree with Lee. I don't think Cooper wanted to change it, but it was kind of needs must wanted because we were going down with cramp and we did look a bit fatigued towards the end because we put that much effort into the game. So yeah, it's going to be, as I said again, I'm repeating myself, but they'll be the favourites. But it's a game I think we can go and get a result because they're on a bad run of form. Hopefully, we can take some confidence from this game, and yeah, we'll see what happens come next Sunday. Do you want a prediction?
Yeah, why not? Why are you still here?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Do I let my head or my heart rule me? You know what? I'm going to go for a 1-0 Forest win. Seeing as they're playing in Europe this week, let Marinakis' side tire them out
and kick them all over the shop.
Yeah, kick them all over, kick them all over the place. That'd be nice. But yeah, why not? After today, you know, like you said, Adam, it completely changes your mood. I mean, I've got 2 ground ops lined up this week, and when my actual team's lost, you think, oh, I'm fed up with football. I can't be arsed with it, but it's giving me a little bit more excitement now. So
where are you going? Let the listeners and viewers know where you going this week.
Well, Tuesday I'm heading down to Brighton way, so there is a few options. I've got to make my mind up. Thursday I'm going to watch Rangers against Sparta Prague.
Oh wow!
Because I'm in Glasgow for work, so I've managed to get a ticket for that. So I'm really excited for that one.
That'll be good at
But
Ibrox.
I best not say I prefer Celtic.
You just did.
Yeah, well, I don't think any Rangers fans are going to be watching this pod, thankfully. So, yeah, that should be a crack. I mean, the atmospheres at both old firm clubs in Europe are something to behold. So, I'm quite looking forward to that one. And it's a game where Rangers really should be probably looking at winning. But I'm not a Rangers podcaster, so we'll move on.
Lee, score prediction?
Before I do my score prediction, I've got a little shout out. So halfway through the second half today, we were discussing a VAR decision, and the gentleman in front of me, called Jan, turned around and asked me if I was on a podcast. It's the first time it's ever happened, and it's made my afternoon. So just like
Did you tell your missus when you got? Did you tell your missus when you got home?
I've told everyone. I've texted everyone. So yeah, I just thought I'd give him a little shout out. I'm actually going to go for the ultimate flip flop, and I think we're going to win as well.
It's amazing what a good result does.
I don't know. It's number of factors. Do you know what? If Villa had been in Europe before they played us, I might have predicted a more positive result than I actually did last week. But I do think these Europa League nights can cause some teams problems. Yeah, I'm going to go for. I don't know. Did you say 1-0, Reiss?
I did, yeah.
I'm going to be different. I'm going to go 2-1. I don't think we'll keep them out. I think they will score at home, just with the Ward-Prowse factor from the set pieces as well. That said, John McGinn's got a pretty decent delivery, hasn't he? And we've kind of dealt with that one today.
And Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, exactly. So then they were going under the crossbar there, corners, weren't they? So I don't think there's anything to worry about there. Watch him get 5 assists next week against us now. But yeah, I'll go for 2-1. I think it'll be a good game actually. I think it'll be quite open. Yeah, looking forward to it.
I've tried to ask Christian for a result, but he must be in transit of flying home from,
I think
from
he is,
Krakow. So I've not got one for him.
He's going as well.
Yeah, Christian's going to be our man on the ground at the. He calls them Essex. They're not even in bloody Essex, are they? They're like.
It's because of the closest London team that way, isn't it? Because
bloody called like, West Ham in East End.
I think it's because like the closest to like the M11, what kind of runs down the east side.
No, I know why I calls them Essex. I used to drive past it a lot on the way to work when I used to work down that way. But yeah, no, I think I'm going to be a bit more on the fence. Unfortunately, I think we'll get a result. I think we'll get a draw. I think a score draw of 1-1 will be my prediction. Just because I think it's a game where you think we can get a result, and there's no reason why we can't. That's just my feeling. Like we might go get a point, and it wouldn't be a bad point. A point on the road in the Premier League is still very, very good. But it's been a very good day all round, and I think everyone. Go on.
Just before we end, Adam, can I give you a player performance?
Yeah, go on then.
What do you think with the goalkeeper coming in? What did you make of him?
He's a lot taller than I thought he would be. He's really but I love a goalkeeper that wears a short sleeve. It means they think they can play outfield as well.
Proper continental Europe vibes in it, short sleeve shirt.
I generally think that means they think they can play outfield. They're like, yeah, I could do a job in midfield. No, I thought he was confident. He punched a few balls away, which I thought was the right decision, and then he claimed one later doors, and most of the saves he made, like you said, Reiss, were fairly routine. So. And Cooper came out on his press conference, on his post-match interview with Colin Frayne, saying he hasn't dropped Turner because of the mistake he made at Liverpool. It was just a feeling of like game, and I was like, I get what you're doing there. You're just protecting the player at the end of the day, which I absolutely admire, and that's
media,
good. That's good management in the media. But yeah, he's dropped him because he's had a few howlers.
You do that behind closed doors. You don't want to disclose to the media because. When you do that with Colin Frey, I think you'll be fine because Colin's a nice guy. But when you're talking about the mainstream media, you see that's why Arteta made a mess of himself, saying he was going to have 2 number ones when that just wasn't going to be the case, was it? And the media's always on it now. If Ryan makes a mistake, like he got caught under the ball yesterday, the camera's always panning to Ramsdale. You just don't want that.
Yeah, I mean, next week against West Ham with like Ward-Prowse's threat, it's going to be really interesting to see how he gets on there because obviously Souček, Zuma, Alvarez, who's the other big bugger at centre half? They've got Edgard. Soufan.
Yeah.
They're all they're a big team, West Ham, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on then. But I fully expect us to be very organised from set pieces as we were
played
today.
the guy yesterday who he was linked with, the Greek guy.
My wrapping up. He scored an own goal, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't want to butcher his name, so I've let you had a go.
I did forget to do one other slept on it thought, so I do apologise for this really late one because you've lasted me. But I've made friends with NFFC all over the world. I've made friends with Chris, who's over there. He loves our podcast and he gives us a lot of love on their pod. And I just wanted to. This is from Chris from a Forest all over. He says the big picture is that Cooper outclassed Emery. Massive shout that is. He set out his strategy and trusted the players to execute. His centre-back pairing was perfect, subs well timed. And then he said, my flood the middle approach paid off, and Christian will be happy that Nico Williams had a good defensive game, even for 10 minutes. But no, yeah. What? This is a great week to be a Forest fan. Derby, obviously, Derby fluffed their lines in the FA Cup against Crewe.
Big side.
Yeah, but did you see there was 2-0 up with 1 minute to go, Crewe, and still drew?
It doesn't matter. They still fluffed it.
It was annoying.
Yeah, but no. Thank you very much if you got in touch with us for the slept on it thoughts. Well done, City Ground crowd. We've debunked the whole myth that we're a crap atmosphere. Hope everyone has a good week, and we'll see you for a preview in midweek. Come on, you Reds.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.